Day after day, week after week, month after month, it's the same story. I'm going to have more of a presence on YouTube. I'm going to get my YouTube channel built. I'm going to have more movie reviews right after I see the movie. I'm going to do more reviews of TV shows and TV episodes right after they air. I'm going to do more ranking videos. I'm going to do more opinion videos. I'm going to do more fun. I'm just going to have a lot of fun with my YouTube channel. I'm going to even try to get friends on. And then a month goes by. And maybe one or two of those things happen, but mostly shorts, which even they don't get done as much as I thought they would. So yes, I'm behind. But in the last month, 3 films have come out to add to a franchise. And by the time you see this, you probably will have seen some of them. Maybe you will have seen all of them. Or maybe you just will not see any of them. Who knows? But regardless, I know it's late, but wanted to get my thoughts out on these franchise films. So we're going to start with a Kung Fu Fighting Panda. For Unedited Reviews, this is Kung Fu Panda 4. Now, before we get into talking about Kung Fu Panda 4, I should probably give you a quick idea of where I'm coming from before watching this film. I recently rewatched or watched all of the DreamWorks films for a ranking that I hope someday I will make. We all know how long it takes me to make videos. But after doing that, I think Kung Fu Panda is my favorite of the franchises. Spoiler alert. Not that they're the best individual movies. I think some I like better than them. But as a whole, I think the franchise is solid. It's great story, great characters, great follow through for plot lines. So that's where I stand as far as Kung Fu Panda, the movies go. I really haven't watched any of the TV series. I've watched a couple of the episodes. I watched a few additional ones when the show first came out. I have watched the shorts. If there's books, I haven't read the books on it. I haven't watched the latest Netflix special, I think, movie. So for me, I don't take those things into consideration when I think about these movies. For me, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that being said, how does Kung Fu Panda 4 measure up to the other 3? It definitely is the worst, as most people have said, when it comes to this franchise. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. I still had a good time with it overall. It just means that I'd rather watch the previous 3 films. This film still had a lot to offer. It was a lot of fun. It still had really good performances, overall good stories. But it wasn't as good as those previous films. So I'm going to start with my negative thoughts about the film. And thinking about it, starting with the voice acting, most of the actors are great. I'd say pretty much all of the performances are great. Now, the characters, there might be some differences if I really thought about it, if I really digested everything, if I really gave it some thought, or if I'd watched more of the TV show. But there was nothing, for me at least, that was like, oh wait, that is not the same as that. His performance there is not the same as there. It just didn't hit me as hard as I think it probably hit some other major Kung Fu Panda fans. I did not like the chameleon. But let me explain. I liked the chameleon as an idea and as a character. And I really liked Viola Davis's voice for her. But you just said you don't like it. It sounds like you did. I like the idea behind this character. And I don't think it was executed well. I think they could have done more with her. They could have gone further with her. It would have been better. I just feel like I've said they didn't execute the character well. They didn't use her to her full potential. And they had a lot of good stuff there. The story overall is good. But one of my nitpicks for the story would be that there's a lot of it that seems like it's predictable. Especially once certain things happen, you start to be able to be like, I wonder. So, are most movies predictable? Unfortunately, yes. But if you deliver a great story, it doesn't really matter. Here, it was a good story, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But that has to be addressed. That there is plenty of moments in this film that are very predictable. Now, the next negative for me is Awkwafina. I am not on the I hate Awkwafina when it comes to voiceover bandwagon. I'm just not. I didn't care as long as the movie was good, as long as she was good in it. I didn't care. I liked her overall. I didn't really go either way. But with this movie, I have to admit, I was starting to be like, okay, I'm not hearing the character, I'm only hearing Awkwafina now. And I think you need to back off a little bit, Awkwafina. I think maybe, great, you're getting work. That's really good, especially in this day and age. But it just feels like you're in everything. It feels like she is in all these animated films or always doing voiceover for animated characters. Yeah, I was talking as if she's watching this. But if you are, great. Cool. But I just felt like, I mean, she was good and I enjoyed the character, but I did start to feel more of that, I don't know what you want to call it, but feeling like, okay, I think this role could have gone to somebody else and it might have felt more natural. I might have believed the character a little bit more. I might have been able to get into her a little bit more. The last negative for me was the animation. I feel like the animation might have taken a step down, but I'm also not sure if that's because so much of this movie is in darkness. You got things happening at night. You got things happening in dark buildings. You got dark castles. You got all these things. You got dungeons. And when you do see the light, when it's not gray or dark or whatever, it's not bad. And it's great to be able to see things. But I feel like either they were trying to hide that the animation wasn't quite up to snuff or something, because that kind of pulled back and made the movie feel more dreary than any of the previous three. And some of those movies can be pretty dreary at times. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about the positives. Because overall, this movie is fun. It's enjoyable. I smiled. I laughed. I had fun. There's good action. There's good kung fu. There's a good, solid voice cast returning. I mean, but let's be honest. 50%, and maybe more, but 50% of Kung Fu Panda is successful and is great because of Jack Black as Poe. Jack Black is Poe now. And he is spot on. It does not matter if maybe there's something off about the other voices or the other stories. Poe is on. Jack Black is on. It's great. And that's why we love these movies. Or at least that's why I love them. I love, the stories are great. The characters are great. But I have to be honest. Jack Black as Poe is just fun, hilarious, and a joy to watch. Even if it's only his voice, he still really brings life to this character. I liked the story. I felt like it was a good progression. It made sense that Poe would, in fact, move on from being the Dragon Warrior, look for a new Dragon Warrior, and become this high spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. And of course, he's not going to want to. Like, the story made sense. I do think, though, that one or two story points that I didn't mention before could have been worked out a little better. I'm not exactly sure how long this movie was supposed to take place after the third one, because if it's not that much longer after, then it's like, okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense. I would have liked to have known, have 10 years passed or what, because maybe make Poe look older. Then that would be more of a, okay, now I understand why he has to pass on the Dragon Warrior mantle and ascend to this leader position. That would have made more sense. And I'm guessing that's what they were going with, but it would have been nice to see him having gotten older. Which also leads to the idea of the Furious Five. You definitely feel the Furious Five's absence. Yes, they have reasons for them not to be there. Yes, it's not really great ones because you want to see them. Those are characters we love about those original three films. But if you really stop to think about it, it kind of makes sense that the Dragon Warrior wouldn't go to one of them because they're their own group now. Plus, you have to figure they're probably in the same, let's just say, age range that Poe is. So it wouldn't really make sense. I mean, I know we do it as humans. We've done it. Pass on mantles to people just as old as us for some reason. You see it in movies and stuff. But it just doesn't make sense. So why would you pass one to somebody who's your exact same age, who would probably need to pass it on eventually, sooner rather than later? Just give it to a younger person, a younger kung fu up and comer, somebody who has all those features and all those skills and aspects that you're looking for. Again, yes, I would love to have seen the Furious Five, for me, Tigress personally, getting the mantle. But if you really stop and think about it, I think them not getting it actually makes sense. And I talked about the negatives of the animation, but then there are some times where it's great. The magic that they show with the staff, for his kung fu energies, his chi, the alternate artwork that they've always done with these movies, the different ways they're telling the story, those are all still there. And that's still a lot of fun. The characters are hilarious. I mean, Shifu is Shifu. He does feel like he got pulled back a little bit in this movie. And yeah, I kind of wish maybe they had done something a little bit different with him. And then, of course, you got Poe's two dads. And yeah, they're hilarious. They're just great. I think a lot of this movie is just fun. That's really the key, is to go into it just looking for fun. Maybe not trying to be like, okay, is it as good as the other three? Is that going to happen? Yes. But it's a fun, entertaining movie. One that I'm not disappointed that I spent my time watching. One that I will probably watch again. And I think overall they got a lot of this movie right. Again, there's still plenty of things that they could have improved on. I think they needed to take another pass at it. But in general, I had fun with this movie. I would recommend it. So, as far as ranking goes, excuse me, I'd probably give it a sidekick. Because it has been a while since I watched it, I admit. But I think it definitely entertained me enough. I had fun enough. Again, I use that word fun. I laughed. The action was good. The story was entertaining. The ideas were good. It made sense overall to me. Great voice acting. Interesting characters for the most part. That, yeah, if you like Kung Fu Panda, I would recommend seeing it. would I recommend seeing it if you haven't seen any other ones? I mean, yeah, it is probably one of the easier places to jump on compared to 2 or 3, because they do give you a quick backstory about some stuff. You won't appreciate everything if you haven't seen the other films. But I think if you're just going to jump on somewhere in the series that isn't 1, I mean, I could see you jumping on here. Because we all know, or at least you do by the end of this movie, some studio exec probably wants to make a spin-off or continue it with other characters. So, in closing, it's fun. I laughed. The characters are good. It feels like a Kung Fu Panda movie, though not as good as the first 3. But what do you think? I'm assuming that most of you have probably seen the movie by now, but if you haven't, what are your expectations? Has my video made you want to watch it or not see it? Or if you have seen it, do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Am I right on the money with stuff, or am I totally wrong? Or do you love this movie? Whatever your thoughts, don't forget to comment down below. And as always, remember, read what you love, enjoy what you love, and let's all work for a better fandom. I'll see you next time.